All change starts with a decision. And 7 years ago, I made the most important decision in my life. And it was the decision to listen to my heart and to follow my dreams. And since I was a little boy, like 4 years old, I had basically one single dream. And that dream was to sail paradise. The South Pacific Ocean, the islands of Polynesia, clear crystal waters, sandy beaches, Bora Bora, Morea, Raiatea. And the movie you just saw was in the Coral Garden. And that was the garden I was looking for. And while I was swimming there, between all those beautiful fish, with all those beautiful colors, I felt more connected to nature as I ever did in my whole life. It opened my heart. It made me connect to something what was so much bigger than me. And I realized myself at that moment that there is a world above as well as there is a world below. And that we, human, are capable of standing with one leg on the land and with the other leg in the sea. And while I was filming this, I had tears in my eyes for the simple reason that I was aware of the beauty of nature. And on that moment, something unbelievable happened to me. I heard a voice. And I recognized that voice. It was a familiar voice to me. It was the voice of my mother. And the voice, it was like a calling almost. The voice was talking to me. And this is what the voice told me. This is what the voice said to me. Let me tell you a story. I will explain it step by step, meter by meter. Everything starts with an idea, a symbol, a seed of life, down to earth, deep in the ground, rooted. To grow a tree, a community, and the people of the rainbow will make it rain. And after the rain, the sun will shine once more again. It's actually quite a long history, as the voice is still with me. Ladies and gentlemen, let me take you back to the present moment. This is EarthToday Live. And I want to welcome everybody back home, and a special welcome for our friends and family in Vietnam, Michael and his team. A special welcome to the founders group who is here today, and the amazing team of EarthToday. Vrouwtje Jansen.
Thanks.
And Constance. This is EarthToday Live, to inform, to inspire, to educate and to entertain. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Kees Zegers. Thank you, Kees, for your kind words. and for all the effort you put into Earth Today. Thank you so much. It must have been hard work, right? Yeah, it is. Well, as Kees mentioned, my name is Vrouwtje Jansen, and I'm very honored to be your host during this first Earth Today Live. Earth Today invited many amazing guests, and they're going to share their story with us. And we're going to talk about the union of nature. We're going to talk about the importance of brands, and we're going to talk about the role of the community. But first, we are going to talk with Constance. Please, Constance, come here. She's the one and only chair community. The floor is yours, Constance, and you look beautiful.
Thank you, Frauke. Blue as our planet, right? So, my name is Constance, chair community of Earth Today. And, well, thank you, Kees, for your opening. It's always wonderful to hear about the journey that you went inwards. First of all, let's take you to where it all started, 22nd of April last year.
Ik, Jan Terlouw, sta op voor de natuur. Voor de bron van ons bestaan. Voor frisse lucht, schoon water, leven. Wetenschappers zijn het erover eens dat als we onze kinderen een toekomst willen geven, we 50% van de aarde moeten beschermen. En toch verwoesten we elke dag miljoenen vierkante meters natuur. Dat moet stoppen. Bescherm nu 1 vierkante meter natuur voor niet meer dan €1,20 en ontvang een uniek bewijs van bescherming op uw naam. Samen kunnen we de toekomst veiligstellen. Meter voor meter. Join Earth Today.
Het is vandaag World Earth Day. De dag waarop we allemaal worden aangemoedigd om stil te staan bij het welzijn van onze kwetsbare planeet. En dat is hard nodig.
De politiek moet het doen, maar de politiek kan het niet als de mensen niet mee willen komen. En de mensen willen alleen maar meekomen als ze het weten. Daar vind ik dit initiatief zo mooi voor.
Voor €1,20 eigenaar worden van een vierkante meter beschermd gebied.
Eigenlijk gaat het natuurlijk om die feitelijke aarde waar die bomen...
Ik kan straks gewoon een vierkante meter grond kopen.
Ja, en ik hou het in de gaten of je het gedaan hebt.
Iedereen kan dus een vierkante meter aarde kopen voor €1,20 via de website van Earth Today.
Ik join Earth Today. Omdat ik zie dat de natuur de klimaatwedstrijd keihard aan het verliezen is.
Omdat iedere vierkante meter natuur beschermd moet worden.
Omdat het initiatief is en dat we echt een impact maken samen.
Om de natuur te beschermen en klimaatverandering tegen te gaan.
Omdat ik wil geven in plaats van nemen.
For the future generations. Omdat het hartstikke belangrijk is voor de toekomst.
Omdat ik de energie van de natuur in mijn hart voel stromen.
Zodat deze kleine vent zo meteen ook nog een planeet heeft om op te leven en van te genieten.
Because it's a magical place.
Ik vind het daar ook mooi.
Because I have 2 kids. Omdat het nu echt belangrijk is om in actie te komen. Omdat wij niet zonder de aarde kunnen.
Ik vind dat het tijd is voor verandering.
Wij join Earth Today.
So, today we have realized over 1.3 million protected square meters of nature. So obviously, we tapped into a demand people unconsciously wanted. 3 minutes on television made the counter unstoppable for days. For us, this is a proof in the pudding. What simply is a square meter? How tangible, concrete, and measurable. If you look at our world's problem and you divide it by the people living on our planet, and you bring it back to the human scale, a square meter of nature. And if every single one of us, can still carry the individual share of our problem, we are facing a global solution. This is what Kees came back with, a square meter of nature. Protecting our Earth's surface meter by meter, for less than the price of a cup of coffee. 1.3 million protected square meters we realized by you. Only because of you, we are able to do this. And we realized protecting square meters of nature from Brazil and to the backyards of our garden in Brabant. In over 6 countries, in over 3 continents, and this is just the beginning. What happened next is that people really were hit off by EarthToday. They loved it. They embraced this new unit of impact. But people also work in organizations. So what happened next is something we didn't anticipate on, but we really hoped for, is that people from organizations called in and that they, with their companies, wanted to stand up and voice in for nature protection. And they said, Stans and EarthToday, everyone who's working there, we want to stand up for nature and embed the square meters of nature in every interaction, routine, and transaction that we have. By doing so, we have an economical power of protecting our Earth surface at large scale. What most of you don't know is that we have gathered the most reputable nature protection organizations in the past few years. We have invited them to join in on the Union of Nature Foundation. Those are people who are actually making the impact on the ground. We are not moved by fear, but we are moved by hope. And this is a count of hope.
Today, the Yaonawa people protect and to leave about 200,000 hectares of land.
And the idea is to bring back animals to the area called Simalaha Community Conservancy, bring back the animals that were there.
You can applaud for a wonderful film like this, right? Yeah. Okay. To start with, I see all these empty chairs here. That's kind of annoying when you're standing in front of an audience, also for the speakers. So I would like to ask if you can come a little bit more front. Would be really nice, because what I would like to ask you, we are here together. Hello to all the people who are watching online as well. But the people here, you can all ask questions. We have 3 panel discussions, and afterwards we have 5 minutes for just questions. So please feel free to grab the mic. Someone is walking around with a mic. Yes, she's over there. Please wave. Chrissy, right? Yeah, good. So you just scream her name and she will come and you will ask your questions, okay? Okay, we have the whole panel here behind me, I'm going to introduce them to you because we are going to talk about the organization who is now making already impacts on the ground, the Union of Nature. And I'd like to introduce Tali Bilski, Managing Director, Union of Nature. We have Timon Rutte, Head of Enterprises at Rewilding Europe. Welcome. Rickert Rijnen. This is like a mouthful, I would say. Advisor Wildlife Conservation at the International Fund for Animal Welfare, right? And Constance is over there. She will stay. She is our sidekick for tonight, right? So, Constance, you and I, we are a team. Now, we are. Okay, cool. Tali, we all heard about Earth Today, but not yet so much about the Union of Nature. Can you explain what it is?
Sure, would love to.
Good.
So basically, Union of Nature is what stands behind the square meters that we as a community are all protecting. And you can see it as if Earth Today is the entity that distributes the square meters to individuals and to companies. And Union of Nature is the entity that sources and certifies these square meters.
Why do you do that? Why is that so important?
Well, because we need to be sure that the square meters that we bring on the platform are protected by the best partners that are doing the best work on ground. So for the last 3 years, we've been spending time to select these organizations and develop the criteria. We look for reputable, trusted organizations, and all of them have to have capabilities to scale. Because Union of...
How do you judge that? I mean...
Yeah, it's difficult, but well, Rewilding Europe was the first partner that joined in, that gave us the trust, and I think together we asked who are the best ones that are doing the work on ground, so they know the people around the world that are kind of the rising stars, that are innovating when it comes to conservation finance, that are pioneering in their field, and these are the organizations that we brought together. And what's unique about this group is that they're collaborating, probably for the first time ever, from what we know, on a business model level. So today we have 6 organizations. We have Rewilding Europe and IFA. We have ARC here in the audience. Welcome. And tuning in, we have Wild Foundation from the US, Rewilding Argentina, and we have also our latest edition, Peace Parks Foundation from South Africa. And together they are collaborating under a single product. So the product of Union of Nature is the square meter of nature. And they're all working towards a single goal. It's a global goal to protect 50% of the planet.
That's the ultimate goal.
Yes.
To protect half of the planet.
Yeah.
Wow, that's something, right?
And it's not a goal that we set. It's basically a group of scientists that said that we need to protect 50% in order to save the majority of biodiversity.
And
then you decided, okay, that's what I'm going to do it.
We know how to do it. We can do it.
Yeah, we are obviously at a point of no return. So it's the generation coming after us, but also the children now will look up to us that if we are doing the right thing, if we are taking action the moment we had to take action.
They will ask us questions like, what did you do, mommy or daddy, right?
Yeah.
And how it actually works is that the funds are channeled towards Union of Nature, and the members themselves, they receive funds for every square meter that is sponsored. And in return, they commit to bring a new square meter under protection. So this is how we scale. This is how we will reach half Earth.
And Timon, do you have a mic? I have. You have a mic, good. You already received some funds, right?
Yeah, so last year we received actually quite a lot of money, so especially after this big event in spring 2021. So yes, we received quite a lot of money.
And how did you spend it?
Yeah, actually very easily. We bought land. And so it's the purpose of this funding. So we bought land in the Coa Valley, which is in the northeast of Portugal. It's a beautiful landscape with a lot of history. And we created a wildlife corridor in that part of Portugal. And yeah, we see a lot of wildlife.
I can imagine, like, normally it's not that easy to collect this money, right? I mean, you have all these funders, and now you have also Earth Today.
Yeah, so
you must be super happy.
we are super happy. I think it was also a fantastic project to start with. We have 9 areas in Europe where we are working, but in Portugal we are actually already buying land. So this is in addition. So it helps us to scale our efforts in this place. So
What is it? What you're actually doing there? Like, can you?
Yeah, so in this part of Portugal, it's a lot of abandoned land. So it's former farmland, small pieces of land, big wildlife history. So with lots of wolves and lynxes in the past. Wolf is already back, and red deer is already back.
The wolf is already back. No, 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 no. As if it's like it's not easy.
No, it's not easy. And I think what we try to do is by buying land in this part of Portugal, we create safe havens for wildlife.
Good.
We call it stepping stones, but they are, in essence, safe havens for all the wildlife.
And how do you feel doing all this?
Yeah, it's great. I go there quite often, and it's fantastic to see. It feels really good. And I think this is the way to do it. Buying land is not easy, and we think it's necessary. You don't have to buy all of nature, but buying...
How do you do it? How do you buy land? I mean,
that takes a long time.
Yeah.
It's a lot about trust.
We are in a hurry.
Yeah.
And this whole...
Yeah, so buying land sounds very easy. And buying a square meter, you can never buy a square meter. It's impossible. So you buy by hectares, not by square meters. And first of all, you have to find those hectares. And they cannot be too expensive. And the people should be willing to sell it. Should make impact. So you also have to look for the best land. And then it's talking with all the landowners and the communities in those areas. So it's not like Funda in the Netherlands that you have one website with all the land available. It's really talking to all the people and meeting the people, meeting the communities, showing your vision, convincing that it's good to do, because they think about the land in a different way. They think about this land is ours and we live here for the last centuries, and I want to have this land available for my grandchildren as well. So it's balancing the social side, economic side, and nature side.
And I heard there was this EarthToday community member who also visited your land.
Yeah, we already had our first member visiting, Jan. Fantastic, of course. We invite all of you to come to the Koa Valley. And he was in the region a few weeks ago, and he actually made a very nice movie from his visit.
We have that here. Let's watch it.
Kijk, ik kom nu echt vlak bij die beschermde 2000 meter. En ik wil ook vooral de kleuren laten zien. Kijk, hier is de rivier. Het is al vlakbij een plek waar 2 riviertjes samenkomen. En het is ook eigenlijk best wel emotioneel, want dit is dus daadwerkelijk... Dit is dus daadwerkelijk gebied wat ik help te beschermen. Het is gewoon echt wel... Ja, als ik er nu echt zo dichtbij ben, ja, voel ik gewoon mijn tranen opwellen. En ik weet ook gewoon dat ze hier de bever gaan terugbrengen. Het is gewoon een perfect gebied voor bevers. Maar het gaat gewoon gebeuren. Dankjewel, EarthToday.
Yes! Especially for Jan.
And this is also one of the reasons, right? So if you close your... This is such a beautiful movie and so touching. And Jan, it's so special that you went there. And that you are so also touched and involved with all your energy. It's... If you close your eyes and you ask people like, how do you value a square meter of nature? And if you think of the square meter of nature with like the tree on it and the creepers and the crawlers and everything that's on it, and you close your eyes and you should put a price if it must, you know, then for most of us here, it's invaluable. And there's no price to put on it. But if you ask peoples to state, and it's from 70 to 350 euros. But in today's world, Earth doesn't have a price and nature doesn't have a price. It's crazy. And that's actually also something that we trigger with this protecting a square meter of nature, receiving a proof of protection registered to your name. Like nothing can happen. These people make sure nothing happens there. And they've been doing this all by themselves in the past decades. and nobody's seen it, nobody valued it, or etc. Maybe few. But now it's time to open up and to put a shine of light on these heroes of the coming decade, because we all will be tillers of soil. We all will help to protect nature, because we're out of time.
We are. Rickert, you knew this 20 years ago already. You've been working in this conservation industry, I would say for almost 20 years. How do you think the sector is performing?
That is a very loaded question.
Well,
well, let's put it like this. I mean, we are, as a species, at war with nature. We're basically extracting and taking and destroying, and all for our own individual well-being. We think, at least. I mean, we can buy stuff and we can build something. But ultimately, we're going to run into trouble, and we are already. And there is a lot to be done to convert it. And that battles that we are performing in order to win back, I mean, right now we're not winning. Right now we're actually losing. And I mean, Rewilding Europe or IFO and all the other organizations, we're winning a couple of battles, but we're not winning the war yet in order to reverse what we're all losing.
How do you think this union of nature is going to help IFA?
Scale. Ultimately, we need money. I mean, it's all about money. I mean, the extracting forces that are using resources around the world and are destroying nature, it's all about money. So we need a lot of money in order to fight back and in order to scale what we are doing on a small scale now, and we need to do it on a way bigger scale. So ultimately, we need all the people to come in together and chip in and say, like, okay, we're going to do this together, and we have the format to do it. We just need to scale it up.
I can imagine that people in the early days would call you, I can only say it in Dutch, a geitenwolle sok. Like protecting nature was not so sexy as it is now. But now, I mean, now you're protecting nature for over 20 years. How did you keep, the attitude? I mean, I can imagine it must have been hard. If you work on this all the time and you see nature not getting better, not getting healed, how do you do that?
Well, we see it healed on a small scale. And the results that we book on a small scale are tremendous. And we see, just like Timon just said, we see quickly species and lots of ecosystem services coming back. So once we do it right, it will return. But yes, I mean, it has been seen as something that, you know, the tree-hugging hippies are doing. But it needs to become more mainstream. We don't have the privilege anymore to see it as something which is extra nature. It needs to become something that is mainstream, because we all need it in order to keep surviving on this planet.
And we can still do it, right?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, once we
can heal.
Once we put our boots on the ground and we actually go to work, it will come back.
Well, thank you so much for your effort, both of you.
Thank you very much. And nature is so strong it will come back. It's more, can we actually enjoy it in the next decades? Eh? Is it a nice world to live in? But in the long term, it will come back.
Yeah. I think also there it's beautiful because you are nature protectors and not per se marketers or bringing skill to problems. You know, it's so and therefore this is such a powerful solution. So that techies and like really, you have to see this as a advertising agency for Mother Earth. Like she said and she stated, one of our species is killing me. And this is a hyper-scalable solution that brings nature protection to a large scale. And therefore you need the power of the individual and the power of organizations that can embed the square meters within these economic powers and in the economic flow, so that with economical power we can heal the planet instead of taking away.
Yeah, you don't have to compete.
You don't have
like
to
for the money,
compete.
right? In
Yes.
this model. Yeah.
And that also that there are so many people who want to jump into this space at the moment. So that this community that we've built has already outgrown the company. So there are these nature protection organizations that are ever growing. There are funders and angels that are supporting EarthToday from day one, so that we can bring 83.3% of our turnover immediately towards the Union of Nature Foundation. And then there are all these companies that are recognizing this new unit of impact, embracing it.
A lot of angels, angels here, angels as investors, angels as community. So thank you. Tali, I would like to know from you, like, what you envision for the future for the Union of Nature.
Yeah, the vision is huge. But now we have our first founding members, and we meet regularly to co-create. We also have 2 big nature protection organizations in the pipeline that are committing and are about to join. We are also in conversation.
Which are still secret?
Still secret. Okay. We also have a first organization that is focusing on marine conservation. So we're going to have our first marine project onboarded soon. We cannot ignore the ocean if we want to reach the protection of 50% of the planet. The ocean is fundamental.
Okay, so if you want to keep on sailing these oceans.
Exactly. We need to protect it. And then we meet regularly with this group, with this bunch, and we co-create this new model. We take decisions together. We are set up as a member-based organizations, and the members are nature protection organizations, so they are UN. We are just facilitating this process. And together we're going to create this and take decisions and decide on the criteria and develop this to scale.
Well, I think Timon Rewilding Europe was one of the first partners to join to join the Union of Nature Foundation, and then with the entire EarthToday store. So I heard most of them calls you to check. So what happened there? What do you say, and what, because for you...
Yeah, that was the honor to receive a lot of phone calls. So I think it came always down to 2 questions. So who are those bunch of strange people? So I think for a lot of nature organizations, this group of people is rather strange.
Why do you think they are strange?
I don't.
I mean, come on, they look pretty normal.
And the second question, is it worth the effort? So I would say on the first one, there's a very formal side of it. Is it trustworthy? Is the legal structure correct? That's all fine. And then it's more about the people behind it. Can we trust them? Who are they? Why do they do this? What's their ambition? Are they in this for a long time? So all those questions, the more the soft questions. So very nice conversations on that. And then worth the effort is more that we as nature organizations, both of us as well, we are very limited in our fundraising capacity. So we don't have a lot of time, space to partner up with everybody. And so we also have to be a bit selfish sometimes. And we see so many initiatives coming up, which is a good thing, on crowdfunding for nature, all that kind of stuff. That's good, but it's risking that we are putting all our time in that. But if we look at EarthToday and now also Union for Nature, we see great ambition. We see, I think, a fantastic strategy and really good people behind it, very professional people, a lot of track record. So I've said, they can make it happen. That was my advice.
Good, you can make it happen.
We paid him to say that.
Good, we can make it happen. I think it's time for questions from the audience. Chrissy is over there. Do we have questions? Please feel free to join, maybe a comment. Yes, over there. Can you please rise up, tell us who you are and ask your question.
My name is Jos Konings from Toon Thibault, the Fair Chain Sea Alliance. I was wondering, when I think it's a great thing that you funnel the money to the protecting organizations, but are the costs of protecting this nature, are they including in I buy 1 square meter of land?
Good question.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we can both share the answer, because what's important to understand is that every project is different. We work in different locations in the world, so obviously a square meter that is bought in the Coa Valley in Portugal will be much more expensive than a square meter that is designated land to an indigenous community in the Amazon. And every project faces different threats and has different needs. Some projects need more rewilding and more restoration. Some it's more on the conservation side. So it really, really depends, and the price varies.
And I think we had lots of discussions on this topic. So it's about sort of making sure you acquire the land, or at least the rights over the land. But then there's also the maintenance on the land, or the long-term liability you have on the land. And I think what we encountered is that discussion is really open with EarthToday, to see how can we structure this finance mechanism in the best way for the long term. So it's not only about this first deal with the landowner, but also the long run.
Okay.
Yeah, and in our case in Africa, you don't buy land. It's not always done to buy land. I mean, we are people from Europe, and you're not going to Africa to buy land. That can be perceived as something which might be...
You've done before, right?
Yeah, it
didn't end up that well. Yeah.
Neo-colonial.
Yeah.
So we lease land. So the land is from the people. We have a corridor between Kenya and Tanzania that we protect. It's vital habitat for elephants and lions and other wildlife. They move between two parks. But the risk that we're running is that the two parks are getting disconnected because the people are settling in between. So we need to keep the corridor open. That is super important. But the land is from the people there. And we're not going in and saying, hey, we're going to buy your land and keep it open for wildlife. No, we have contracts with individual people. So it's one corridor which has 2,700 lease contracts with individual landowners. And together it makes a corridor. And we have those contracts for 10 years, and then we renew them if possible. So that is an enormous amount of work to have those 27 lease contracts and to keep it open for the long term.
I think we can discuss about this subject for over an hour or more, but I'm so sorry. This was our time. We do have drinks afterwards, so then you can talk and ask all the questions you have to these people. But first, we're gonna applaud for you. Tali, Timon, Rickert, and of course, Constance. Thank you so much. We can all leave the stage, because it's time for music. And actually, she's one of my favorite Dutch singers, and she's also a community member from EarthToday. And I'm very, very happy they're going to perform for us. Give them a warm applause. Janne Stra and Laurens Radstaken on guitar. Thank you, Janne.
Apologize, compromise, stand in line, you're just fine. Not hungry, oh, you might allow yourself to speak up, speak up. You're in control, staying small, know it's right, black or white. Simple dress is not too tight. Oh, you don't speak up, speak up. Don't hide your mouth behind your hand. Say it now, you're allowed, I'm waiting. Don't pretend you know it all, I'm waiting. Don't be scared to fall. Have your sighs, analyze, watch the fight, stay up all night, close the door, pace the floor. Oh, you don't speak up, speak up. Don't hide your mouth behind your hand. Say it now. You're allowed, I'm waiting. Don't pretend you know it all. I'm waiting. Don't be scared to fall. Don't hide your mouth behind your hand. Say it now. You're allowed. I'm waiting. Don't pretend you know it all. I'm waiting. Don't be scared to fall. To fall. Laurens. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's really amazing, right? Yeah, and she's also in the theaters right now. I recently saw her show in the Kleine Comedie, and I can absolutely advise you to go there. It was great. So thank you, Janne and Laurens. Speak up, please, everybody. Yes, what we're going to do, our next panel conversation is about the importance of brands. But before we are going to talk about that with the panel, Jan Terlouw, I think we all know him, recorded an important message for all of us. So please listen to Jan Terlouw.
Dames en heren, de wetenschap kan nooit iets met absolute zekerheid voorspellen. Maar de voorspellingen die de klimaatwetenschappers doen, komen bijna altijd ernstiger uit dan ze hebben gedaan. We zijn bezig om de natuur te verwoesten. We zijn bezig om de biodiversiteit heel ernstig en snel achteruit te laten lopen. En om de temperatuur op de aarde heel snel te verhogen. En dat is heel ernstig voor de toekomst. Dat betekent een grote stijging van de zeewaterspiegel. Dat betekent grote verwoestijning van grote delen van de wereld. Met hongersnoden die daarbij horen. Dat betekent andere gebieden die door regenwater in grote problemen zullen komen. Dat moeten we veranderen. Dat kan nog, als we vandaag beginnen. En wie moet dat dan doen? In de eerste plaats natuurlijk de politiek. De politiek wordt gekozen om de belangrijke maatregelen te nemen. En in de tweede plaats de bevolking, die de politiek moet steunen, die er moet aandringen dat de politiek die maatregelen neemt. Maar wie moet het uitvoeren? Dat moet natuurlijk doen de industrie, de bedrijven en daarvan dan in de eerste plaats natuurlijk degene die die bedrijven leiden. Die zullen dat moeten doen. En dat kan ook. Want dat zijn in het algemeen mensen met visie. Mensen die denken aan de toekomst. Mensen die denken aan de werkgelegenheid van de toekomst. Die denken aan de producten voor de klanten voor de toekomst. En er zijn er heel veel hier vanavond aanwezig. En ik roep u op, denk er alsjeblieft over na hoe u dat gaat doen. En dan zult u zien hoeveel fantasie u hebt. En hoeveel voorstellingsvermogen om dat in de toekomst goed uit te voeren. En te zorgen dat onze kinderen en kleinkinderen een natuur hebben die net zo rijk is als de natuur die wij hebben. En dat ze niet zitten met overstromingen en met verdrogingen, met een hogere temperatuur, met alle kwalijke gevolgen van dien. We roepen u op om dat te doen. Help ons om de toekomst veilig te stellen. Daar bent u een heel belangrijke factor in. En ik ben ervan overtuigd dat u het kunt en dat u het wilt. Dank u wel.
Thanks. That was Jan Terlouw. Yes, sometimes we do have technical problems, but we're facing much intenser problems, and that's what we're doing. We're solving problems here. So it's okay, no worries. And they're already sitting here next to me. Like I told you, we're going to talk about the importance of brands. Constance?
Ja, very important.
Beautiful sidekick. And then we have Hans Meijer. And he is one of the co-founders and managing directors at Zoku, the rising star of the hospitality industry. And then we have Yves Scheirat, CEO Masters Expo, the capital of great business. And Erik van Eerdenburg, and he is director of music festival Lowlands. So this is Erik. I know him very well. I'd like to know, what do you think of this message of Jan Terlouw? Hans?
Yes.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, everybody, and thanks for having me. I think it's a very valid thing, and I think the success of businesses are often determined by profit. And I think there is a great opportunity that it is determined by impact, and that we redefine businesses. And I think that we can wait until politicians are doing that, but I think we also can be front runners in that respect.
And how do you do that?
Very simple. Mark, who's my co-founder, and myself, we had a conversation around 3 years ago, and we were thinking, if we look 10 years in the future, to what kind of company would we would love to look at, and what would make us happy? Would we become happy if we just saw 21% return on equity or something? And that didn't make us happy. So at some point we had a conversation, can we use our force that we have as a business for good? And that basically helped us to decide that we wanted to become a benefit corporation. And we wanted to become that because it's a globally accepted certification where you have to meet the highest standards from an environmental and social perspective. You have to be very transparent of your business and also have a legal framework around that. And that actually helped us to balance purpose and profit in our company and help us to grow we feel, in a very responsible way.
Cool. Erik, what do you have to say about the words of Jan Terlouw?
Well, I think he's right. It's a no-brainer what he says. But what we see is that the politicians think short-term, and they don't look over the shadow of their own term. And so people have to do it themselves, I think. And that's what I like about this initiative. As an individual, you tend to feel you have no perspective to action when it comes to problems like this. And when I heard about EarthToday, I got this phone call from Constance. I thought, well, this is what you can do around the system or above or down under the system that politicians and the democratic system has. We can do it ourselves. It's kind of fuck the system. And
well, the system fucked you, right?
Well, otherwise the system fucks me.
Yeah. Thank you, Frau.
And you. So I always like systems to be, to fuck the system a little bit.
You like to fuck. That's
another issue. But yes, and that's what I like about it. It gives a perspective to action. And everybody can cooperate, and there is a system that is in place that channels the money to the place where it's needed.
And in what way is Lowlands involved in EarthToday?
First of all, we give the space on the festival to promote themselves, and we bought for every ticket 1 meter. So that's 60,000 meter, and we will continue this per year.
Can applause for this, huh?
Lowlands!
Really great.
And we hope to encourage people to buy more. So next year, when Lowlands will take place, I hope, we're gonna do this for the first time. We were supposed to do this year for the first time, and I'm trying to spread the message within my company. So Lowlands is part of Mojo Concerts, part of Live Nation, to encourage musicians that go on tour and sell tickets to do the same as I do. So if and hopefully Coldplay, for example, who sells hundreds of thousands of tickets, will embrace an initiative like this. So that's where I channel my energy right now to get this going.
So you will talk to Coldplay and say, well, did you hear about Earth Today?
Yeah, well,
Why not?
maybe not personally, but through the channels that our company has, yeah.
And that's brilliant, eh? So Erik really felt for this immediately, and obviously it suits Lowlands very well, because of already for years Lowlands is the camping flight to paradise, and paradise is where we all want to be. But it starts grassroots, you know. So it starts as Lowlands is quite big. It's the biggest festival in the Netherlands. It's the most renowned festival. Everyone wants to go to Lowlands,
don't we?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, but who bought tickets and couldn't go there?
But it's a great example of how Erik sees it as something that he wants to do here and then expand internationally, and how to bring it to a part of tonight Live Nation. But it's also because it suits the industry. The artists like Janne, and if you listen into them, they're all already out of their minds. Those are the people who are thinking from an other perspective. And so it really suits well that we travel with Earth Today, that we travel with the musicians of the Earth.
And it's also, I think our audiences, the people that buy the tickets, a very large part of them, they will live in 2050, 80. So they will be.
They're still young.
Yeah, they will be a victim of this development if they don't if nothing changes for the good.
And how are you involved in Earth Today?
Well, my first question to you, Vrouwtje, would be, what do you think if I would treat you as a person like we treat the Earth? So let's see the Earth as a person, and then ask the question, what are we doing? And that's the key question, because we take nature for granted. We take the blue sea for granted. We take a walk in the park for granted. We take the mountains and the snow for granted. And nobody is wondering how it was created. And I heard when we were having a cup of coffee, somebody said, yeah, David Attenborough is talking about this next industrial revolution. Yeah. It's the last revolution. And the very nice lady said the ultimate goal is that we will have a certain number of meters. It's the last goal. And it needs to be accelerated because we are talking too much. And when I've seen so many initiatives in the last 20 years, everybody wants to do something, and that's positive, but nothing is happening. And why is that? Because what's happening now in Glasgow, and I don't want to be unkind, it will not change anything. We have Fransje Timmermans, nice guy, but it will not change anything.
And what will change?
Yeah,
something. I mean, how does it work?
I'm coming to that.
Yeah.
And governments, very nice, but they will not change because it's all about they have their own menus. And the only thing what can change are the people. And what I feel with Earth Today, even here today, is very extreme positive energy. And what I like about the concept, it doesn't matter if you participate with 1 square meters or with 10 million square meters. It's everybody. It's a chain of people. And I was listening to the lady, said it's all about money. It's about power, unfortunately. If you want to change, you have to create a huge international community. And I like the way of thinking of the people about Earth Today. It's actually the first initiative I was listening to. I thought, wow.
Really? All the other...
Yeah, yes. This is like when I heard the story about Google, they said it's not going to happen. it happened. I have this feeling with EarthToday. If people say it's going to happen, with a lot of challenges, with a lot of difficulties. Very good question from the sir in the room about how do you protect nature. Just by doing it, you will come at a lot of problems again. But I believe in the chain of the people.
How will you do that? What is your role? How will you wake up these brands?
It's not only my role. What our company does, we host every year almost all the influencers in the Netherlands. They come around. They are the key decision makers. We have all the big brands who come there, and they are important. And how do those people get inspired? By positivity, not by the fear card. I don't like the fear card because it's clear what's going on. Everybody is realizing that we have to do something, but you have to get.
Fear card is also used, to make it
but
more
that's
urgent.
Personally,
yeah.
But that's clear. That's clear, and I think we have to see nature as a person. How would you treat a person? And that is what I like about the potential of EarthToday. And if we inspire the brands, which many brands are already inspired. By example, the car industry, if I see what BMW is doing, they're walking 10 years in advance. And when I think about Tesla, I'm not so positive, to be honest. The lithium batteries. So there is a huge propaganda machine around. And what we have to do together, and me and every company involved, inspire the people that we have to protect nature, because that's the key thing. And the key thing is biodiversity. Just go to Naturalis in Leiden, walk around, and you will understand what the true meaning of that is. Because people in general, I think they don't understand. And we have to see Earth as a person. And if we do that together, we can accelerate. And I want this 1 million meters within a year or maybe 2 years to 1 billion meters. And we have to do that together, and it's possible. We have to create such a big power together that if you ask, do you participate? If I will ask a brand owner how many meters you take, it's never no for answer. It's just how many meters. And if we do that together, we will make the change.
Thank you.
We are very lucky with, and that's actually, we are with the entire team of EarthToday, but also with the entire community that we reach now. We are very, very lucky. We're very thankful for having partners, first partners like this joining us. We have now in over 18 companies that are joining and that are embedding these square meters, big and small, like real estate companies that are gifting square meters of nature when you buy or rent a house, etc. All kinds of implementations. But the cool thing is that with every partner, a nature protection organization that is joining, and with every partner, a company, partners like Yves, who is touching upon the leading luxury companies of the world, the capital of great business, a hotel chain industry. But then we have a European leader in the hotel chain, this music industry that is being moved. With every partner joining, this power ball of trust is growing and growing, and it's unstoppable. We are aiming for April next year that the counter of hope is unstoppable, that it rotates, and every company has their own wish. They say, we want this meter not to stop anymore, just based on their own business. And that's how we must be thinking forward.
Are you hopeful about the future, especially with the role of brands in reaching these goals?
Well, I think 20 years ago I was a member of a group called Young Executives for Responsible Business. And at that time I had high hopes, and unfortunately we're 20 years down the road and it didn't improve that much.
You still have your hair.
I still have my hair.
So, good news.
But apart from the high hopes that I have is that I think there's a force from the ground coming on. I had a conversation 2 weeks ago with one of our sidekicks, and sidekicks are people working with us and they also make coffee. And I had an interesting conversation with that person, and because he told me, I'm a sidekick with your company, not because I can make coffee. I can make coffee everywhere, and there's a war on talent going on, so I can go to a lot of different places. But I believe in the vision of the company. And I think that more and more, what I also have the conversation with the people who work for us as well, they think it's very much important that a company has a purpose which goes beyond earning money. Everybody sees that it's a kind of a shared responsibility to do something about it. And people also not only want to do it during a festival, which I think is a very important thing, but also during the daily work that they can contribute. And I think why I think Earth Today is so strong, that I became an angel, my wife became an angel, our son became an angel, is because it's such an incredible, simple solution. You take away a lot of hurdles for people to participate, and I think that's genius about the system. So yes, I'm very hopeful, and also what you said, I mean, let's give it some push to make it work together.
How is that for you, Eric?
Well, it's sort of in the same way, you know, because I see the potential of the system. I put my energy behind it. Our company just hired a sustainability manager. He's going to put some energy in it, and you try to make it bigger. Yeah. Well, what more can I say? Yeah.
Well, that's what we want. We want hope to get bigger, and companies who do good get bigger.
Yes,
more impact.
I think there is the vision is very dystopian right now for a lot of people, because there's no perspective, again, no perspective to action for an individual, and with this system, I believe that you can actually say this is going to work if we all do it, and we don't have to wait for our politicians. We don't have to wait. The only person you're waiting for is you, and there's a system, and you can just contribute.
Very easy.
It's easy.
Very easy. Do we have questions from the audience? Chrissy is over there. Yes, we do. Chrissy, you have to run. Hope you're not wearing heels. Can you please tell us who you are?
Yeah, I'm Sabine. I work for Growth Tribe and companies that are doing good for the world. Now I'm in a transition. And I speak to a lot of people who are too busy. I am too busy.
Yeah, what?
Too busy. I have too much on my plate. It's not my priority. I have lots of other stuff to do. So I'm wondering, how is Earth Today reaching and waking up these people? Like, what are you doing?
Constance?
Yeah. Well, that's also a good question, because many people also walk away, of course, from what's actually happening. But the force of people that are awake and that are, many of them are youngsters. So. And they are actually quite, dystopian. What is very recognizable. They are quite mad of what future there is ahead, and most of them are reaching out, and we focus on what we can focus on. So on what is in our concern, and those are the people that are awake, that are realizing that you have to be a tiller of soil, that you have to protect nature by yourself, and that we all, within this decade of action that is ahead of us, we all will be protecting and helping to protect nature. So we focus on them, on letting this group grow, and then, well, people will wake up to their daily routines, and they will want to contribute to giving back instead of taking more. One beautiful anecdote is that we received a few days after the launch a movie, 2 screaming girls going totally out of their minds when they saw the counter running like unstoppable, and they were screaming so loud, and it gave them hope. And these people also reached out. They became angels by themselves, etc. They are somewhere in the teenagers, so they most probably, you know, and they feel that they want to contribute. So the question is, are you too busy to contribute on a day-to-day basis? Are you? It will fulfill your life. And like you, Sabine, you say Growth Tribe, but you also do. You said you do the Growth Tribe for good. You're out of business in 10 years if you don't have any value to bring to the table.
So, you're out of business. Okay, do we have more questions? Yes, one more.
Hello, my name is Jarno. I have a question. Is there a limit in what you can achieve? Because if you get the word out, I think everybody's very enthusiastic about the whole idea and all the initiatives. And when you try to scale a business, there's a certain of growth you can handle. Is there a limit in what you can do? Because I hear a lot of square meters. If everybody gets behind it, what's the time path?
Yeah, very good question. It's such a big problem. If you think of these global problems we are facing, we need to protect half of our planet for balanced biodiversity, clean water and fresh air, because that's the result if we protect and help our planet. That is so big number, such a big number, that's 250 trillion square meters. But to come back to your question, we have one goal, and it's not that big of a goal. It's 9 billion square meters to protect, help to protect 9 billion square meters together. We're at 1.3 million square meters now. We only have few companies that are standing up. So I think it's within our reach that we together could reach this goal. So if you are able to help to protect and get us up to the 9 billion square meters and all of your friends that you know that are in business, we will be there very soon. We have a model that has counted that if we are enabling the square meters in our economical system, it takes us possibly 2 decades to get there. And then we're in time.
Okay, so we have to hurry a little bit. I would love to ask you to applaud very loud for this wonderful panel, for their courageous minds. Thank you so much, Hans, Eric and Yves. Yes, you can silently leave the stage, and the community, like we all heard, is the backbone of EarthToday. And we're going to watch a video of Altin Gun, where you can see how they contributed to the community. So watch a video of Altin Gun.
Alem, Altın Gün'den yeni albüm. Elektronik folk müzik dünyasına 17 kişi. Alem sadece Bandcamp üzerinden satışa sunulacak ve satın alınan her şarkı EarthToday aracılığıyla en az 1 metrekare doğayı sonsuza kadar koruyacak. 2050 yılına kadar gezegenin %50'sini koruma görevinde. Tereddüt etmeyin ve hemen albümü satın alın.
This is so much fun. Thank you, Altin Gun. Yes, the next panel is already coming on stage with a loud applause, of course. These are people from within the community, so we're very happy they're here. Next to me, Judith Manshande, the managing director at Delight Yoga. Ta-da! Then we have Hester Werner-Drein, international hairstylist and founder and owner of Mojine Salon and Mojine Hair School. Good to have you. And we have Ronald van der Kemp, fashion designer with a focus on sustainable fashion. I'm very happy you're all here. And of course, Constance, and I start with you. How did it go with this band?
This band, yeah, it's.
What did they do? How do they?
So this band is Altin Gun. It's a very famous band. They are based in the Netherlands, but they are famous all over. So they have quite a very engaged following. Eric knows them also quite well because they were also planning to perform at Lowlands. So what happened is that they heard...
Eric is getting already depressed again.
Yeah.
No. Okay, good.
So actually what happened is that a guy from Altin, who has a relationship with the singer of Altin Gun, heard about EarthToday, through the media channels, and he talked with his wife or a girlfriend about Earth Today, etc. And she was like, "I'm gonna do a release, and I'm gonna do the entire song for the with a performance of the song totally dedicated to Earth Today." And then you think like, what? That's crazy. So they reached out and they said this, and alem, it's a Turkish word for realm. So new reality, which I think is quite cool. And they released this song, and the entire euro went to Earth Day, and they already protected by themselves 13,000 square meters of nature, and it's still happening. So that's one song.
Very good. I'm so sorry for my coffee. This went wrong with the tea. Can you all tell me how you are protecting square meters? And how you involve this in your day-to-day business. Judith, can you start?
Yes, I can. Well, first of all, I really want to express my gratitude to all that is happening here. It really touches my heart. I think it's amazing and so necessary. We as Delight Yoga are actually a really new partner. We are going to start our activities in January of next year. And what we want to do, because I feel we have a community that is very much aligned with what EarthToday is about. And when you practice yoga, you practice the connection to yourself. EarthToday is about the connection to the earth. And I think those two are
the same.
The same,
Earth,
exactly.
earth.
Yes, and I mean, I always love the saying, like, you can solve a problem with the same mind that created it. I think in the yoga community, we are sort of trying to take that next step in consciousness. And I think your approach is the same thing, but from a different perspective. So the fit is seamless in my perspective. And what we will do as from next year is really try to nudge our community into give back, into connect, and into buying those square meters. We have beautiful studios where we really are in touch with the community, and we can show them all kinds of things. We were brainstorming about actually putting a square meter on the floor with a QR code and say like, hey, this you can preserve for €1.20.
Or this one day you can bring your phone into the yoga class.
Well, yeah, we can do it in the lounge, but no, and there's many ways to activate the community and to really, we were thinking about this common goal we want to achieve with the Delight Yoga community in a year. And just to contribute in all kinds of ways. And yeah, I'm very excited to...
How many square meters are you dreaming of?
100,000 at least.
Wow.
Good.
That's amazing. Thank you so much.
And Hester, how are you doing that? How do you protect these square meters?
Well, I think the first thing when I talked to you guys, I was very enthusiastic because since I have my kids, 3 kids, I really wanted to make a change, not only being on stage and doing shoots, but leave something behind, like a heritage. And I have certain beliefs. People that come to my salon have also certain beliefs to be vegan, buying products that are recyclable, or we have a refill bar. All those things are matter to me. And when Kees talked, when I was at his home, I didn't cry, I stopped it, but it was so nice because I can't do what you do, but at least I'm starting a little ripple, and that's what I can do. And at a hairdresser, we all go to hairdressers. So my challenge is for last 2 years was a little bit strange and difficult after also COVID. I also had to recover, but we were starting again from Christmas till years and years and years, hoping also to be like a micro-influencer for all hairdressers, starting in Holland, but I also do things in Europe, working for a beautiful brand, Authentic Beauty Concept, that has much more reach. So I want to extend that. And it was so nice that my babies that work for me are very young, And they, €1.20 is so easy to spend. There are so many companies that come in and like, do you want to support my corporation, or do you want to do things for nature? But then you have to pay monthly, so you feel a little bit stuck. And for this, it's so easy for younger kids to get them really enthusiastic, because it doesn't feel that they are stuck, but they, you really need to do it from the heart. So they start buying from their very small amount of money that they get in a month, buying these square meters through me for EarthToday. And this is what I also want to do with my clients. And I have so many clients that want to help, but don't know what you're saying. Like, a lot of people are very busy, but they do want to help. And starting in our chairs as a hairdresser, when we start talking, when they go out of the chair, they're going to support EarthToday.
You get your hair done. Woohoo!
Yes, sir. Yes, well, I promised that I would support every client that come to me to support with €1.20. Of course, this year was a little bit of a challenge also for me, but now I'm back in business, and so I can. That's my support. And also the last 2 years, I started a new brand, which comes from next year. And from that, 1%, depending on how it goes, or it needs to be 2 or 3%, that goes to EarthToday. So hopefully it will be the next paperclip. Then we get that, we get the goal.
Thank you so much, Hester. And Ronald, you work as a fashion designer, focusing on sustainable fashion.
Well, I sort of had a revelation also 7 years ago, where after 25 years of working in the fashion industry, I saw that the whole thing was spinning out of control, and I thought I need to do something. So I started my brand working only with existing materials, because I thought the harm is done.
What is the name of your brand?
That's RVDK.
Okay, good.
And I do couture, and in the meantime, I dress Michelle Obama and Katy Perry and all these kind of people.
Michelle Obama.
So with that, I think I want to make impact by doing glamorous things.
Yes, you
and
do.
At the same time, make people think different about sustainability and about the world we live in. My motto is new ethics in luxury fashion. So when I heard about EarthToday, I saw a real link, and I saw a real possibility of bringing it together. So we did a nice project for Amsterdam Fashion Week.
Can you tell me about this project, because everybody was telling me about it, about Fashion Week, right?
Because it's a nice project.
Yes.
I think Ronald made something magnificent, and it was so beautifully done. It was so touching. So together with the Amsterdam Fashion Week, where he had an exposition, he created all these creatures of nature, and it was actually the Ark of Noah, and it was a very industrial building, and he totally changed this to like the flood, and that those creatures of nature were needed to protect themselves to sail away from the flood. And there's this dancer, I don't know if everyone saw the European Song Festival, but there's this beautiful Syrian dancer with his long dress, and he created a visual on the floor where you saw that the earth was really spinning and spinning faster and faster. So it was first beautifully done, you heard animal sounds, etc., and then it started to become really quite scary also. And some like only very cold leftovers remained, and I don't know if you can explain it further, but it was
the idea
so
was
touching.
Well, I think what I try to do, I think talking about sustainability is very difficult, and talking to people about everything that's wrong. So we always try to do it with, well, my art is fashion and everything surrounding it. So with this performance that we did with Ahmad, we sort of like brought attention to nature and how beautiful it is, but also how we spin out of control. And but still, the beauty of it was what is very important. I think people were very sort of touched by it, and everybody walked away with a certain sentiment. And I think this is what I try to do. So also, like during Couture in Paris, we always try to link ourselves to a good organization to make people think differently about things, always with the idea of I call it responsible hedonism, because people still want to go out, they still want to go to festivals, they still want to go to a luxury fair, they still want to buy clothes, but let's just do it in a responsible way. And I think what I love about EarthToday, that it's so close to you, the square meters is so easy to imagine. If you would just like imagine your closet or your apartment and think, okay, I'll just buy that as square meters of earth, I think we are already, you know, quite ahead. So I'm trying to do my piece of work as little as I can, as much as I can, within the limits that I have. But
it's beautiful.
But we're very happy with that. Yeah. So you touch people in their hearts and they turn this sentiment into action. So
yeah, I think it's very important that you stick with your own little world, and that already helps a lot.
Yeah.
Thanks.
And this is like a few of the stories from the community, and each on its own are so big and wide, and also so well. It starts with always a personal story behind it, and therefore the community is the most important thing. And what people mostly, because we are all talking about these square meters of nature that you register to your name, and this most reputable nature protection organization protects in your name. But the cool thing is, and that's I think also really the thrilling thing of EarthToday, it's a co-owned community. What people don't know yet, but it's already written in every in the small details, is that every square meter that is protected and registered to your name also is one shareholding certificate of the company EarthToday. So we are sharing the responsibility and the ownership of EarthToday and our Earth with everyone. So everybody is really involved, and this is why it's also special, because it's an entirely shared community, and that you really empower everyone to make a difference and to make this yours, because it's yours.
Sharing is really caring in EarthToday's perspective, right? Yeah, very good. I would love to know from all of you how you would see this community in about 10 years. How do you envision that?
How do I envision it? I hope that within 10 years, this community is not needed anymore. That we are just all so conscious and so connected to the earth that we can, sort of stop preserving nature because we are nature. So that's my hope for the future, actually. Yeah.
Thank you. Hester?
Indeed, with you, that I hope that it will still exist, by the way. I don't want it to stop. But what I do want is that our kids are going to be changed, that you bring your cup if you want to drink somewhere, instead of buying plastic. If I go to the supermarket, everything is plastic. And that's a different topic. That still, you know, my new product will come out of Indonesia, because I want to support that community. And if you see how much waste there is, so don't get me wrong, this is brilliant, and I hope this will stay, but we need more support, because we're not done yet. Even though we have the nature, we still have the plastic, we still have oil, we still need the government to support, because actually I don't get it that we have to do it. I'm really happy that everyone's supportive, but I don't get that the government is not working with us, or telling Shell, stop the oil, or telling all the companies, don't make new plastic, it's cheaper.
They're too busy.
Yeah, I know, but it's, but on the end, if they don't help changing us, we're not there anymore. You know, so I'm really grateful that I see everyone, and I hear big companies, and I hear the people in my chair, the young people are screaming for this. So I hope EarthToday still will exist, and that new ideas will coming out with making animals, helping to plant more trees, or all that stuff. That would be amazing. And that I'm going to stand on my land and having the time to help instead of working. And
brilliant.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yes, sir. Ronald.
Well, I think the most important thing is that we all start to feel it. Because if you feel it, then there's no way back. I mean, you honestly have to feel it from the inside. I think that's where it all comes from. I mean, when I saw Jan Terlouw talk, you feel the emotion and it gets to you. So I think the more people, and each in their own way, if they reach out to other people and if everybody starts to feel it, then we'll all feel it together, and then things will change.
Yeah.
You know, because
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yeah, once you realize you are nature and you feel connected to nature, you ultimately feel also more connected to others and would be nicer to each other as well and to nature. So thank you so much.
From greed to empathy.
Would be nice. Do we have questions from the audience? Yeah. Yes, over there. A very quick one. Who are you?
Hi, my name is Paulette. I was wondering...
Paulette, can you please rise?
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, no worries.
Actually, I had two questions, but you told me I had to be quick. So, very quick. So, most of you, if I understand correctly, do services rather than products. Well, you were talking about one product. But I was wondering if sort of consuming less and the trend towards consuming less and the need to fly less and eat less meat and all sorts of things that we have to do less, to what extent is that embedded in the strategy of EarthToday, also in the partners that you choose and the behaviors you want to promote? And my second question is, there's a lot of demand from organizations, from people for offsets, which is going to create competition for land. So is that going to overlap? Will we see square meters that are both generating carbon offsets as well as biodiversity protection? Or are these going to be two competitive purposes for land?
Yeah, good question. Thanks.
Well, Paulette, hello you. Thank you for your questions. That's really, really important to note. So those square meters are being implemented mainly by the companies to empower conscious behavior. So the companies want to change, but consumers demand differently. So many consumers buy products and companies make them because they buy them. And that needs to change. So companies really strategize with us how they can create routes for a better tomorrow. So how they can build up a sustainable company, long-lasting relationships, because they want to show that they care about their employees, about their customers. And so they are really empowering good behavior from the consumers. And then you are rewarded with square meters of nature. And that's really to raise awareness on how you can build better behavior. Coming back to your second question. So most companies today, BV constructs, are doing harm, right? So they are building companies, businesses, etc. And they hurt the earth. And of course, that must stop. Every normal company should do no harm. And but if you do harm, you need to offset your CO2, right? And this new unit of impact, a square meter, that's being recognized by these companies, and that's why they want to embrace it, because it's so you can easily visualize, customers understand it, etc. Then you together are having this counter of contribution behind your name. So it's actually a measurement that translates way more easy to you than CO2. If you close your eyes, CO2, and you think of a kilocarbon CO2, nothing happens. But if you think of square meters, something happens. You can see yourself giving this away, and you can see yourself like rewarding people, and you can see yourself like, this is our unit of impact. So last year we protected with you, customer, over 1 million square meters. Something changes there. And therefore, there will be a translation from the meter square towards contributing. And of course, companies still need to offset their CO2, but hopefully they do more than only offsetting. They also contribute. And they use both in the same measurement as square meters instead of CO2.
Thank you. Is okay, Paulette? Clear? Oh. Chris, can you... Then we...
Thanks a lot, Constance. So what I was wondering is if you foresee projects that both generate offsets as well as protect nature, because you're going to have that competition for land.
Yeah, it's the same. So mostly the companies use land to offset, right? but that's not visual. So they buy a forest in Siberia somewhere, etc., and they need to help protect it by themselves. They need to organize everything. So now companies knock on the doors and they say, well, you protect land, right? So we can do this. We don't have to buy this Siberian forest. We can do this with you. And we say, yes, you can do it with us. And then the most reputable nature protection organizations doing the work on the ground. And you can translate this land towards your customers. So for them, it's really beautiful thing of yeah. It's for them, when they know and they are aware, they recognize this as a solution.
A way of adding value to the land, right?
Even.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. So I think we have to wrap it up. But Constance, you first want us to do something and tell us about the gift of giving, right?
Yeah,
I think we can all relax a bit. Like
yeah.
Chairs and okay, cool.
So, well, if you close your eyes and you think of today and you know of what is ahead, and then you think of Black Friday, which is actually kind of an outage of our planet. It's kind of a black day that day, but you also see the Christmas days coming up, and everybody is. Well, spending family time together, etc. And people are thinking of how they would love to spend. They are overthinking last year and how they would love to spend the year coming, etc. And then those days we are giving each other this many gifts, etc. But how beautiful would it be if you give each other impact that is everlasting, and not more stuff, but just meters of impact that you can register to your name and inheritable to your children. And I want you now to think of people and companies that could make a difference here and that join in this Christmas, not giving more stuff to their employees or to their relations, but maybe just from a personal note from the company director or the CEO of the company, that they are giving away impact, square meters of impact, like 20 square meters to each employee or 20 square meters to whatever you think of. If you have names that you think of now, please do stand up and do link us, and then we can together give away impact instead of 200 billion that is spent every year on Christmas gifting.
Wow, that was relaxed and also gave a good feeling, right? I want to thank all the community members so much for all your effort. And we've almost come to an end of this evening. I'd like to thank all the speakers, EarthToday, of course, for all your hard work. Really, really amazing. Yeah, and community member Typhoon. He gave us some tickets for his show tonight. Some people are going there tonight. Who is that? Wow, that's a lot. Have fun, have fun. It's almost time for drinks. It's next to this, how do we say it? Next to this room. And over there is chocolate. Tell us chocolate. Yes, I'm very happy with that. You can applaud for that as well. And partner Fairby is offering the community community members 15% discount and 1 square meter for all of us. So we're very, very happy with that. I am not going to end this evening. It's someone really special who has some very nice words for EarthToday and for all its community members. Enjoy it.
I, Jane Goodall, stand up for nature. It provides us with fresh air, clean water. It's our source of life. Scientists from all over the world agree that if we want our children to have a future, we need to protect 50% of our planet. But every single day, we still take away millions of square meters from nature. This has to stop. Join EarthToday.
Wow! Thank you so much, Constance, for being the best and most beautiful co-host ever. It's time for drinks. Enjoy.